What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. Back to you on our normal night, Sunday. Back with as always, the coaches in the house with my co-host Don. What's going on, man?
What's good? How y'all doing this Memorial Day weekend? Hopefully y'all being safe. Hopefully y'all not eating too much pork. But anyways, glad if you're joining us live. I'm glad you're joining us. If you're watching this video at a later time, I'm glad you took the time out to watch us. Um, Once again, we're now on Spotify. So if you don't want to listen to the show live or on YouTube, you can join us on Spotify. The link is in the description. We also on Google Podcast. That link is in the description as well. Um, so if you new to this channel, that's a subscribe button. Hit it. Subscribe to the channel. Also share this video, share our content with your friends, and let them know to subscribe to us as well. And please put all your comments and questions on the video for our video as well. We will get back with you guys normally within the 12 to 24-hour notice time frame. And if y'all have any questions, just hit us up in the comment section or hit us up on one of our social media sites. We on Twitter, we on Facebook, we on Instagram, pretty much everywhere. And all those links are in the description as well. And as always, come holla.
Come holla
At your hometown
at your hometown sports podcast.
podcast. All right.
Sports podcast.
All right.
We have a special guest with us today. Go ahead, Don.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say what you gonna say. Go ahead.
Benjamin, on our show, you always introduce yourself and let them know what you're about and where they can find your stuff at. So,
All
Benjamin,
right.
go ahead and introduce yourself to our people.
All right. Well, my name is Ben Tankersley. I'm one of the site managers over at From the Rumble Seat, which is the Georgia Tech affiliate for SB Nation. You can find me on Twitter at FTRSBen. You can also follow the website on Twitter at FTRSblog. Thank y'all for having me. I'm excited to get going with this.
All right, thanks for coming on.
Glad you could be on tonight. Glad you could be on tonight. All right.
I guess, and as always, we'll run down the weekend sports done.
All right. So Atlanta United, we played this Friday in Salt Lake against Real Salt Lake, and we lost that game 2-1. It's a trend. It's a trend. If we give up the first goal, we're gonna end up losing. And I hate to sound it. I hate to sound like that, but that's been the trend under Frank DeBoer. And I don't know if that trend. I'm gonna have to go look back at when Tata was here. I want to know if that's just Atlanta United problem or is it a Frank DeBoer problem. But yeah, we gonna have to start scoring first if we're gonna end up winning these rest of these games of the season. So, but yeah. But like we have Atlanta United, they got a long week next week. They got I think 3 games they got to play, and I'm going to the game. Yep, I'm going to the match against Chicago Chicago Fire. So I'm gonna go to that game this Saturday. So if y'all wanna meet up with me or want to take a picture, want to just holler at me, hey, I'll be in the house. I'll be in Mercedes Benz that evening. So. Go ahead and do.
All right. Also, on last week, the Atlanta Dream season is getting started. On Friday, they took on Dallas and Atlanta Dream. They were winners of that one, 76-72.
All right. All right. And then the Braves. Braves had a good week. I really thought we was gonna struggle against San Francisco, but we did good against them. Monday we played them and we won 4-1. Tuesday, they beat us 4-3. Wednesday we came back and we beat them 2-9. The bats was hot that night. Thursday we wrapped up the series against them 4-5, and we won that game. And then Friday went to St. Louis and we won that game 5-2. And then yesterday, 6-3. We did not win that game. And right now, last time I checked, St. Louis is winning that game 1-0. So, also some news in Braves camp. Austin Riley, he's on pace to win the National League Rookie of the Year. I think recorded 4 home runs so far, and he only been playing for like 2 weeks now. Dansby, he had a back-to-back home runs on Friday night. He had 2 home runs Friday night against St. Louis, and then we also made a transaction. We traded pitchers Viz and Jesse Biddle to Seattle for the relief. Anthony Swarzik. I don't know if I'm saying that name right or not, but now we have a relief pitcher. I'm kind of upset that we traded away Viz because I like Viz when he was closing the games out for us. But he's on injured reserve, so they said what's the point of him pretty much staying on the payroll if he ain't doing nothing. So I kind of understand that move. Also AJC, they pretty much leaked the news that SunTrust Park will be hosting the 2021 MLB All-Star Game. The official announcement will come sometime this week. So that's a great move. Just think about all the major sports events Atlanta have hosted so far. We hosted in 2018. We hosted the college football championship game. We just hosted the Super Bowl this year. Next year we're hosting the Final Four. And then in 2021 we got the MLB All-Star game. All thing we need in 2020 is just to get an NBA All-Star game when we set. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been Atlanta. Yeah. We've been getting these major sporting events in town, and that's been a great thing. But I'll take some championships over hosting something any day of the week. That's just me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly. All right, what Hawks do this week?
Not much in Hawks news. Trey Young was making the media rounds, and he said a couple times. I saw he said a couple times on a couple media shows this year that this week, I'm sorry, free agents. You're a free agent. Come to Atlanta. Trey will get you the ball. Basically, he's putting the word out there. Come play in Atlanta. I get you the ball. I'm not trying to be selfish. So Trey is doing the main recruiting for the Hawks right now.
As he should, as he should. He should be politicking right now to get some of these, high-profile free agents to come here, so we can. We're going to be contenders next year. It just all depends on how far we're going to get into the playoffs. Can we beat, Boston? Can we beat Toronto? Can we beat Milwaukee? Speaking of that, I got a lot of smoke. I guess this morning and last night, we're making fun of Coach Bud, him losing against the Raptors. And some people pretty much saying, oh, well, I was for Bud and don't do that. Why are you being so petty? I'm saying to myself, see, this is the problem. We're not about to do this. Like, I'm so sick of these passive fans. Stop being so passive all the time. Like, this is the reason why these other major sports outlets do not respect us, because they see us as being soft. Am I lying? Am I lying?
No.
Like, we got to stop doing this. Like, it was a joke, and to be honest with you, him and Shanahan, I can care less. I hope they both be failures wherever they go. Like, you had an opportunity to win here in Atlanta and you did not want to be here. And when you was here, he was interviewing other teams. He was interviewing other teams while he was still coaching with us. That's not right. It's that's why I don't like Coach Bud. I lost all respect, all credibility for him because of how he handled the situation. What he should have did, he should have just resigned and said, I'm done. I've done all I can for Atlanta. And then you could have went out and interviewed other head coaching jobs. But I'm done on that. All right. Falcons this week. Stephen Means, he's out for the season with an Achilles injury. Now, a lot of people are pretty much upset about that, pretty much saying, oh, the injury bug is coming back again. So, it's Stephen Means. I'm not saying Stephen Means. I'm not trying to downplay him, but, there's a lot of, players right now are in training camp and in OTAs right now. And Stephen Means is a replaceable player. Let's be honest with ourselves. He's a replaceable player. He's not like a Vic Beasley or Deidre Sonata, Grady Jarrett. Like, he's replaceable. OTAs also began earlier this week. I'm not gonna get into the fiasco of which player did not show up for voluntary camp. Is voluntary, and I already made a video about that already. So you want to talk about that? There's a video we just did, I believe, on Thursday or Wednesday, sometime this week. So go check that out, and then put your comments in that in that video as well. Also, minicamp will begin on June 11th. So in a couple of weeks, minicamp will start. I'm gonna try my best to get out there. I normally try to go every year. So, all right. What happened to college? What happened to college? What happened to UGA, Mario?
Well, the UGA baseball team, they lost in the semifinals of the conference championship yesterday. And on the football side, UGA got another commitment. Jalen Carter, a defensive tackle out of Apopka, Florida, 6'4", 300. I believe he's going to be like a three technique. Made UGA. He gave UGA their 10th commitment yesterday. Where he's ranked is crazy because before he committed yesterday, I want to say once he committed, 247 shot him up like 50 something rankings or whatnot. So, but regardless, UGA. I hear you.
Just that sounds about right.
Yeah, they shot him up. Yeah, after he signs with UGA, they shot him up way up. But and DeJuan Mathis, freshman quarterback, early enrollee, he went emergency surgery to remove a cyst from his brain. Expected to make a full recovery. Expected to rejoin the team. I'm not sure about the timeline, but scary stuff, man. Scary stuff. Emergency surgery to remove a cyst from his brain, but said he's doing okay, full recovery, and he will rejoin the team this year. Is from what I'm understanding. I'm not sure when, but yeah, they say he'll be back out there.
Well, I'm glad they got that taken care of before camp and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nasty.
Stuff like that, man. That can kill somebody for real. Exactly.
Yes. Georgia Tech.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. Our show is pretty much surrounding Georgia Tech. So before we start talking about Tech,
we're gonna incorporate that. Okay, we're just gonna incorporate it all.
Yeah, we're gonna incorporate it all together. Yeah. But before we get into the topic, I want to say hi to the people in the chat. Tia Ferrain, she said Happy Memorial Day to you as well. Our boy Devontae, he in the chat. How you doing? He said glad to see you. Okay, Mario. And then
I had a little scare myself yesterday. Thank you.
Yeah, it was scary. He hit me up, man. I was like, man, I'm thinking like, do I need to drive up there and see you? Like, I was afraid too. But he well, man. He a tough. East Atlanta, East Atlanta strong,
The seats.
Pound for pound, he said, "What up, fam?" I don't know if this Toby D or if this J.R. Clark. If it's one of y'all, both of y'all, what's good to y'all? Tiff Rain said, "Go Braves, yeah, go Braves." Hopefully they win tonight. The bullpen can hold the Cardinals to this one run. If they still got one run, I don't know. I haven't looked at the score yet. Jonathan Folsky, what's good, man? He said the first player that came to your mind about not to be replaced with Vic Beasley. I like Beasley and all, but he's definitely not my first thought.
We ain't doing that today.
We're not about to start talking about.
We ain't doing that today.
We're not. Yeah, the show is not. It's not the Vic Beasley show. We're talking about Georgia Tech, man. All right, Pound Price says Toby D. Yeah, what's good, Toby D? Glad you could join us. I know you're a Bulldog fan, man, but We talking about Georgia Tech, so hopefully you can stay around and know what's going on and on the Tech campuses.
I got a question for Ben right out the gate.
Okay.
It's not necessarily on the sheet, but just right out the gate.
Oh boy.
No. I've asked this question several times, and I actually know a few of the kids. Actually, I know personally a couple of the kids who've already committed to Tech under the new staff, and I've heard it from them. What is the main difference you get between Coach Collins' staff and Coach Johnson's staff? Couldn't even remember his name. And obviously, I don't mean philosophy. I just mean the feel in the building around the program.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not sure it could be more different. With Jeff Collins, I will say I am a big fan of Paul Johnson. What he did at Georgia Tech in his 11 years, big fan.
Okay.
But what Jeff Collins has been able to do just in these few months, he's been able to spark excitement that I personally have never seen around Georgia Tech. And just like everything I've read about him, I've liked him more and more. I'll be honest, he was not my first choice. I was hoping for Tony Elliott, the offensive coordinator for Clemson.
Okay.
That didn't happen. Personally, I'm happy we didn't get Ken Wisenhunt, but I think Todd Stansbury made the right choice.
Yeah, I know Ken Wisenhunt. He went to Tech back in the day, but I really like Collins. Ken Wisenhunt. I don't think that would have worked for him. I would have seen that would have pretty much been like a Jim Harbaugh move. And I'm a Michigan fan, by the way, and like I'm right now, I'm still trying to trust the process. But it's been 4 years, and you haven't even beat Ohio State yet. Come on now, like I'm becoming impatient.
Hey, doesn't have to worry about Urban Meyer anymore.
Well, yeah, you're true about that, but they still recruiting, and we not. So, but yeah, going back to Tech, but I think Collins is a good move. The one thing that you didn't mention is what he brought to this football program is culture. He brought the culture back, the excitement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that it's hard to tell at this point, but one of the biggest issues I had under or with Paul Johnson's staff, just the position coaches were not always the best about things like player development. Whereas with this new staff, you bring in a veteran coach like Brent Key, who's considered one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. Like the wide receiver coach, Kerry Dixon, used to be at Florida, used to be at Toledo, had a wide receiver get drafted in the second or third round this year. Like you've already seen evidence of the players that they've developed, and bringing that together at Georgia Tech, between that and the recruiting ability, it's going to be exciting to watch.
I'd like to ask this to both of you guys, actually. Some people believe that Tech, you can expect to win the ACC or compete in the ACC every few years. It's not perennial. You're not going to be year in and year out with the academic requirements. You have some people that say that's a bunch of crap. Other schools are doing it. Which do both of you guys believe? Do you believe that Tech could win consistently 9-10 games every year, or Tech should just expect to win that 9-10 games every 3, 4, 5 years? What do you guys think?
I fully believe they can win 9-10 games every year. Obviously, the ACC is kind of on hold right now with Clemson and the run that they are. But personally, I like to believe that Jeff Collins has what it takes to at least challenge Clemson for that. Now, I say that's going to be a few years down the road. And I guess that's my one warning to Tech fans. Temper your expectations, because we're not going to go out August 29th and upset Clemson. It's not going to happen. They may very well win by 40 points. It's a process. But I think Jeff Collins is the right guy.
What do you think, Don?
9-10 games this year? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think we're gonna win. They're not winning 9 or 10 games this season.
No, no, no. I don't mean this year. I mean in a couple years, can Tech win consistently 9 or 10, or should they expect to win 6 or 7 and 9 every once in a while?
It all depends on recruiting. It all depends on if they can get some 5-star, 4-star players there and coach them up and develop them. Then yeah, they can easily win 9, 10 games easily. Like we said, we gotta see how Coach Collin and how he can develop these players. Now, keep in mind, we're not running that whatever offense Johnson was running anymore. They are running pro style offense now. So now, the offense now is not going to be predictable anymore. So when they play against other teams in the ACC, like they're going to be trying to figure out what Georgia State's identity is going to be this year. They can ease. I'm pretty sure. I'm calling it now. They're going to get a bowl bid this season.
It's optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that I believe it can be done because Notre Dame's doing it, Stanford's doing it, and I also saw Bobby Ross and George O'Leary do it. So I'm one of those that I don't believe it can't be done because I've seen it done in Atlanta. I've seen it done here. So I remember the '91 national championship. I mean, I remember it. I was around. I was old enough to remember. So George O'Leary had it cooking here in the mid '90s before he left. So I've seen it done here. It can be done again. So I believe that it absolutely can be done. It's a little harder, but it can be done.
Yeah.
So with that being said, talking about the offense, how do y'all think would the team struggle moving from to that pro style?
I mean, I know they'll struggle a little bit because being my oldest son is a junior in high school going through recruiting. So I've been down to Tech, been around, and some of his buddies have been recruited Tech. So I've been around in the building and seeing the players. The offensive linemen at Tech aren't as big as the offensive linemen that you see around the country, and that's part of because in Coach Johnson's style, he used more athletic linemen. Linemen had to be able to move and run. They weren't these road graders. So it's going to take a minute to replenish because you're talking about offensive line. You're talking about you're going to play 8 guys on Saturday.
That's your core. So that's your core, your offense right there. So if you don't have the offensive lineman, then you're not gonna do anything.
So, and we're gonna play 8 to 9 guys on Saturday on the O line, especially early in the season when it's hot. So we aren't talking about replacing 1 or 2 guys. You're talking about replacing a whole unit. And just like Ben said, it's going to take some time to do that. So I believe the biggest struggles are going to be on the offensive line. And that's obviously not going to help a quarterback as well. And that's obviously not going to help the quarterback.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That transition on the offensive line it's going to be the reason Tech is either good or not good this year. They had a big loss with Parker Braun deciding to transfer out for his final season. But they do have a couple transfers that came in. Jared Southers this year, Jake DeFore a year or 2 ago. I think this offensive line or this offensive style is a little bit more suited for what DeFore did. He transferred in from Ole Miss. I think he'll start. I think Southers will start. Their guard, he played at Vandy the last few years. I'm curious to see what happens. I'll reserve judgment till we see them play someone that's not Clemson.
All right. So we're going to end this football question. We're going to start talking about other sports, baseball and basketball at Georgia Tech campus. Now, I'm going to be the moderator in this, okay? Because I have Coach, he's a Bulldog fan and you're a Tech fan. I'm neither. But I have ties because most of my family are Bulldog fans, but I have one cousin, and like she the only one but me and her, we both got college education. I went to a different school, but she graduated from Tech. Shouts out to my cousin, Dr. Kenzie. I'm going to share this video with you. Love you.
I don't dislike Tech.
Georgia versus Georgia Tech this Thanksgiving. Who's winning? Everybody in the chat, tell me your results.
I say UGA for the reason that I just stated. Even though that I believe, like I say, Tech is just going to be a little overmatched on the O line this year. But I do believe that Tech can compete with Georgia. I don't think that Georgia's just a big brother. I believe Tech can compete with Georgia, but I think this year, UGA is just a little too strong for a team that's rebuilding. In my opinion.
Yeah, I would love to say that I think Georgia Tech would go beat Georgia by 20, 30 points. Quite frankly, it's not going to happen. Kirby Smart has done a really good job so far, getting some really good players in. Jake Fromm is a good quarterback. That defense is best I've seen at Georgia in a while. And this is Tech's first year, new coach, pretty much knew everything. If they do somehow pull something off, we will definitely celebrate. But at this point, I wouldn't bet anything on it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give you my humble opinion of what's gonna end up happening. I might be somewhere crying and mad because Ohio State might end up being Michigan again. So I don't know. I don't like because that weekend. That's the same weekend that Ohio State and Michigan play. So I don't even have a chance to watch the clean old fashioned hate game. So yeah. But
imagine being from Georgia and not watching Georgia and Georgia Tech, so you can watch Michigan and. Okay.
Anyway, man. All right, let's go in the chat. J.R. Clark, how you doing, man? Good to see you. He also worked with Pound for Pound with Toby D. Y'all go check them out. Please go subscribe to their channel, Pound for Pound. All right. Man, Mike, what's good, man? He in the chat. He's also a Bulldog fan, so he pretty much said, "Dog, this show boring." I know it is, man. I know you don't like. Look, man, I know you don't like Georgia Tech, but we appreciate the support, man. That's all I care about you, man. You supporting, man. I appreciate it. All right. Also, Justin Clark, he said, it's easy to recruit when you run a modern offense. That is true. And he also said pretty much if you win 6 games. That's easy to get you a bowl bid. It might not be the bowl game you want, but it'll get you
the bowl game we won last year either. So
it'll get you a bowl. It'll get you a bowl bid. Hey, the players they get to go on a vacation, and Matt Mike he said it depends whether or not his zone scheme or more power scheme. All right. He also said if they will be trash on defense. I'm thinking he's talking about Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I think he's talking about Tech. Yeah.
All right. And pound for pound and Folsky, they both said UGA is going to end up being Tech. So wow, where all the Tech people at? Where y'all at? Y'all supposed to come watch the video with us.
I shared it.
Look, now this
we'll probably get a lot of people watching later.
Yeah, I know it's not going on tonight. So
now I have to say the AJC, I've been reading the AJC for years. The AJC gets a ton of backlash for being heavy UGA, and not enough Tech. I just have to say on our own platform, there are more UGA fans in the city, and they're more passionate. And for lack of a better term, Tech gets the button-up reserve crowd, and UGA is the frat boy drinking crowd. The UGA fan base in the media in this city seems to reach out and accept more than Tech. And I can say, I can't speak for the AJC, but even on our own platform, we get much more Bulldog fans than Tech fans. I don't have a problem with Tech at all. Being matter of fact, I said this last week. I want UGA to beat Tech, but if the game at the end of the year meant more for Tech, I want Tech to win. So basically, if Tech could go on to a bigger bowl, if Tech could go to a national championship, I never want them to lose to Georgia in that sense, But generally, I guess I want Georgia to win a little more, but I certainly don't dislike Tech, and I'm rooting for them every Saturday.
Look, this is what I think, man. This is what I say, and I know I'm living in a fairy tale if I say this, but let's take Michigan out of the equation, okay?
Mhm.
All right, I want Michigan to go to the national championship every year. That I'm a fan. That's just how I'm supposed to believe. But as a AT alien, I always thought that especially on this new national championship, college football playoff system. What if Tech and UGA meet up in the national championship? That'd be a great day for Atlanta's collegiate.
Especially if the game
They
was
would,
hosted at Mercedes-Benz.
yeah, they would have to both be undefeated when they played, and then one would have to lose,
Mhm.
and they would have to still win in the SEC or ACC championship the next week. But it could happen.
Yeah.
But
It could
no,
happen. They have to, yeah.
but here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Tech gonna have to go undefeated to even get into it. Get into it.
Hmm.
UGA can take an L to Tech and then beat Alabama in the SEC championship. Cause everybody know SEC
Yeah.
championship game. That's pretty much the national championship right there. All right,
So I'm
and
going to
then
disagree with you there for a second because I think Tech could take that loss, go into the ACC championship, beat Clemson after
Undefeated.
already
Yeah.
having to have beaten Clemson earlier in the season because they're the permanent rival. So, I think either
Yeah.
way that you could
I
still see
mean,
it.
because you got to think it's the last game of the season.
Mhm.
So if Georgia and Georgia Tech are both undefeated at the last game of the season, they're going to be in the top four.
Right.
It's going to be in the top. They're not going to be outside of five because you don't normally have that many Power Fives undefeated at that point.
Mhm.
So it could happen. I believe it's a long, super, super long shot, but yeah, it can happen. Don, I
yeah,
think if they were both undefeated when
but
they met, yeah.
but going back to what we said, man, we want all Atlanta teams to be successful.
Mhm.
Yes, we have Tech fans. Yeah, we have Bulldog fans. But hey, as far as Atlanta, man, it's one love. We all go root. So if Tech goes to the national championship and Georgia on the outside looking in, you know, we go support. You should support. We all Georgia. We all in the state. So it ain't like it's not like it's Mets or Saints or Washington Wizards or anything like that. It's we all in the same state.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think it's like I said, it's a little different for me and probably for Ben as well because I personally know some players on the team and their parents.
Mhm.
So anytime that like I'm always rooting for those kids and some of these parents and my friends. So I'm always rooting for those kids, even if they're playing my favorite school. Hey, I'm rooting for that kid because I want to see that kid do good. Because some of these kids I've known since they were little kids playing with my son, and I'm watching them now like, man, the kid's over at so and so now, I don't want to name drop, but you know, it's I'm gonna always support and root because it's gonna always be a vested interest, a personal interest of people on the team anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, this what Toby D just said. He said he agreed with everything you just said, Coach. But he also said you would need to be undefeated and be respected by the community. He pretty much talking about Tech.
Yeah.
He said there are politics involved. We already know the college football playoff system is all politics. How your state get into the and yes, I'm taking my Michigan fandom out the way. But when you lose to Iowa, an unranked team, and you lose to them by 20 some points, like why? And you should not be nowhere near the playoffs. I'm sorry, but he said Tech hasn't reached that level yet, which the scenario I came up with, Tech gonna have to go undefeated just to get into it, you know. But but let's wrap up Tech football. Let's talk about baseball because that's what we need to be talking about right now.
Mm.
We know they clinched the ACC Coastal Division title, but however they lost today against North Carolina in the
That
ACC
was not a
championship
good game.
game, 8-2. So
Not a
what's
good
your
game.
thoughts? Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Ben?
Well, they were definitely disappointing today. Lost 10-2. Yeah, that was not a fun game. It's been a fun season though. 40 win season. and a lot of that was from the offense. I know we were talking before the show. Like Tech really just hasn't had the pitching all year to be as good as they are, which is really odd. So one of the big changes that they made coming into the season, they hired a new hitting coach, James Ramsey, I believe it was at Florida State last year. And the work that he's done with the team has really shown. One of the guys that I know that really improved is Nick Wilhite, who last season batted 170 something and was one of Tech's top hitters this year, hitting over 300. Kyle McCann came out, had another great year, stepping in for Joey Bart behind the plate. Michael Goldberg hit 370. Tristan English, who was one of like 2 or 3 decent pitchers that we have, did a good job pitching, and then also came out to the plate, hit 300, hit 17 home runs. I was super impressed with what the offense was able to do this year. I just wish the pitching staff was able to keep up.
Yeah, but even though we didn't win the conference, hey, we still have the tournament, the road to Omaha.
That is true.
And then also the road to Omaha, it got to come through Atlanta. The news just came out.
Yep. Hey, more things we're hosting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Georgia Tech is hosting a regional. We'll see how they do. They're going to be leaning on that offense, though, because personally, I haven't seen enough of the pitching to believe that the pitching can get us to Omaha. So offense is really going to have to show up and probably win some games 10-9 and just hope for the best.
Yeah. Yep. I hope we can make it, man.
Me too. Me too.
So
I want to. I'm looking at the notes here, and I have another interesting question for both of y'all. Tech, bigger legacy in basketball or football?
Football.
Yeah, I'd say football.
Football. Okay.
Just because you can look, just like at the history of the program. I mean, you've got awards named after former coaches like John Heisman, Bobby Dodd. One of the oldest stadiums in the country. Like Georgia Tech is a historic program. It was very revolutionary. You had obviously Heisman, who invented the forward pass. Bobby Dodd during the mid to late 40s, going into the 50s, had one of the best programs in the country. Obviously, not as much lately. Kind of after Bobby Dodd, things kind of started to come down a little bit after getting out of the SEC. But you have that, and over on basketball, like we had a Final Four appearance several years ago, 15, I think, back in 2004.
2004.
Yeah, 04. Yeah.
But they haven't been good since. I'm hoping Pastner can get that turned around. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, but Tech always known for like far as the basketball program back then. A lot of NBA they put out a lot of NBA products.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and nowadays it's not as much. Like you had Chris Bosh a few years ago, Imam Shumpert.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all forgot about Nick Van Exel?
Yeah. Then right now the
BJ Elder,
Josh Okogie just came out a couple years ago playing for Minnesota. And really wish we'd had him last season, but he's obviously doing fine for himself. Got that first round draft pick and did really well up in Minnesota.
Yeah. I don't understand. Football I do understand, but basketball, I mean, you bring in 2 to 3 guys, maybe 4. I just don't understand how we aren't able to recruit at a high level in basketball. We play in the ACC. We're downtown Atlanta, and I just can't understand why I'm not seeing more Chris Bosh, Marberries, Kenny Anderson, why the D3? Why aren't I seeing those guys come to Tech anymore?
You know why? Do you want to know why? If you look at, like, say for instance, I am a high school basketball player, okay, and I'm ready to sign to a school, and I'm a top recruit, all right, and I'm looking at Georgia Tech, Atlanta. Okay, I know what's in Atlanta, but you got to look at who you got to play in the conference. You got to play. Okay, hold on. You got to play Duke, North Carolina, Wake Forest.
That's why I go.
Yeah, you got to play a lot of teams.
I mean, I think you can take it further than that. Like, you look at those schools, like, those schools are regularly putting people in the NBA.
Exactly.
Whereas Georgia Tech has put Josh Okogie in the NBA, and other than him, nobody recently.
No.
So, like, what they need to do, they need to get guys in and be able to help them.
You want to play for Coach K, or you want to play for Pastner? Like, that's another thing.
Like, to
get, I mean, I want to play for Coach K, but everybody can't play for Coach K. So I don't understand how we don't get, Coach K is signing guys in the top 25 of rankings. What about those guys 25 to 50? We can't get any of those guys, and I just don't understand it, man.
I don't get it either.
Especially for the amount of basketball players that are coming out of Georgia, and for that matter, UGA as well. You're looking on TV and you're seeing these top guys. You look in the NBA draft and you're like, man, I didn't know he was from Georgia. I didn't know he was from Georgia. You're looking at any college game on Saturday and it was like he's from Atlanta, and you're like, man, how did he get all the way to there? Like, he had to ride through downtown. Like, I just don't get it.
I don't understand either, man. It's something that, those schools, Tech and UGA, they're gonna have to just, get their recruits, man, to recruit harder, man, for these players. Do something, on the lines of staying legal. You can't do nothing. You can't be giving these players Camaros and stuff like that. I know schools still do that. Let's keep it real. But hey, they gotta figure out something to keep these players at home, man. But speaking of
to bring his name up in this sense, real quick though, with Ben, I know that Daryl LeBerry, he got in a little trouble over at Tech, and Daryl LeBerry is actually an elementary school friend of mine. Me and Daryl grew up together. We actually went to Bob Methodist Elementary School in Decatur, Georgia. So I knew Daryl personally. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Ever since that, Tech recruiting has not quite been the same. Not that it was that great at that point, but he was the best recruiter that we had, and losing him it's been tough. They actually did bring in one guy, a transfer, probably a couple weeks ago, Bubba Parham from Virginia Military. Shot almost 40% from the 3-point line last year. Personally, I'm hoping he can have a similar impact that Adam Smith did when he transferred a few years ago. It really just took the offense to another level, and we were a little bit more competitive than we had been. I'm not saying we're going to go to the tournament, but maybe we'll win some games in the ACC.
Yeah. And speaking of the basketball program, Josh Pastner, we know what happened with him this past basketball season. I guess he was there was accusations that came out of some sexual assaulting charges, and turns out that was pretty much a lie. Now he's turning around and suing them. Now, go ahead, speak on that. Speak on that, Ben.
The Arizona state prosecutor brought up fraud charges against Ron Bell, who is the person who initially accused Josh Pastner of the sexual assault allegations. They actually brought up fraud charges against him and his girlfriend, who was the one who was allegedly assaulted. So personally, I hope this kind of helps all of this finally move on and get this weight of the allegations off the program, so Pastner can finally focus on recruiting and winning games. Because I feel like for far too long, the whole Ron Bell saga has just been weighing on him, both professionally and personally. Because he knew him, Pastner and Ron Bell had known each other going back to when he was at Memphis. So it's been a long time, and hopefully it's past.
Yeah. But do you think this gray cloud or black cloud? We know he didn't do it, but it's still attention and it's still a distraction.
Yeah.
Will you think this will affect the basketball program this upcoming season, the 2019-2020?
If anything, it means that it'll affect it for the better with it finally starting to pass. People realizing, maybe this guy wasn't telling the truth, especially if the fraud charges stick and he does end up getting convicted.
Cool. Okay.
All right. Well,
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure Josh Chestnut is the guy, though. I mean,
I won't argue that.
I mean, I
don't know that Tech is in a place to hire another basketball coach right now. I know they're in the middle of trying to finish up their 2020 athletic initiative. Last I checked, they were pretty close. I want to say they're like $85 or $90 million. But after having just gone through a coaching search that they weren't expecting, having to also go through a basketball coaching search after finally getting done paying the last two coaches, it's not a good time. Like, it may very well be 2021, 2022 before you see Tech trying to find another basketball coach.
That's if now if he does well this year.
Yeah, I mean, if Pastner turns it around, I say keep him on. I mean, from all accounts, he's a great guy. He just hasn't had the success that you want to see.
Yeah.
What have you done for me lately?
Exactly. All right. Well, anybody in the chat, do y'all have anything to say on what we just talked about as far as the Georgia Tech athletics, like the basketball program, the football program, the baseball program? Go ahead, type your final thoughts.
Yeah, pound for pound was this. He was saying that they will have to be undefeated and respected by the community. No politics involved, and Tech hasn't reached that level yet. And Jonathan Post
he was talking about what we were talking about the first Georgia getting to the college playoff and Tech. So yeah, I mentioned that already.
And to that, I will say, with 2 wins over a top-ranked Clemson, I think that would give them the respect they needed.
Yeah.
I mean, people, let's not forget, because I remember when Florida State first got into the ACC and they didn't lose. Matter of fact, I remember the first time they lost the game was that Thursday night at Virginia, where Warwick Dunn got stopped on the 1.5-yard line. I'm showing my age a little bit. I remember that game. But Georgia Tech went, I don't want to throw the number out there, but they went several years without losing the game in the ACC until Virginia stepped up and challenged them. So everybody who's looking at Clemson right now as the big bad, step your game up. Yeah. Step your game up and reach them. You got to go reach them.
And then in the early, pretty much in the early 2000s, I'll say all the way to like 2009, like Tech was always that dark horse in the ACC. Like you didn't know you can just chalk a W over them. Like they can come out and they can just beat you. Because I remember when they had Reggie Ball on the team, and then they had Megatron. We forgot about Megatron. Yeah, that
was Chan Gailey squad.
My worst memory as a Tech fan is that
I know what you're gonna say.
What, the 2006 ACC championship game? Oh no, I wasn't even going to say that.
Okay,
I was thinking, I think it was 2006, the ACC championship game where we lost to Wake Forest. Both teams held under or scored single digits with a team that had Calvin Johnson on it. I'm just like, how do you don't even get 10 points when you've got one of the best receivers of all time on your team?
All time.
Hey man, it's just like in the 2011 Falcons season, man. We went and played New York, and we only scored 2 points. Like it be like that sometimes, man.
Yeah, I know
it. So yeah, it be like that sometimes. But yeah, I don't think anybody else said anything in the chat, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show. Ben, go ahead and plug all your information again for everybody who listening.
All right. Well, you can find our website, fromtherumbleseat.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at FTRSBen or follow the website at FTRSblog. You can also like us on Facebook at From the Rumble Seat.
All right.
And thank y'all for having me on.
All right, I appreciate it, Mario. Any last words?
No, man. Hey, do not take unprescribed medicine. Just know. Donna will tell you why. I had a health scare yesterday. Do not take unprescribed medicine. That's my word for this week.
Exactly. That's a major, man. Don't ever do that. All right. Hopefully everybody enjoy the rest of their Memorial Day weekend. Like once again, if you didn't watch the show live and you watching it later, please comment in the comment section. Please share this video with friends, family, and significant others. Please hit that like button and please hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to our channel. As always, come holla at your hometown sports podcast. On that note, y'all have a great evening. See y'all next week.